Rebirth Island just dropped and it's extremely sweaty, so I have for you the new best settings that you should be rocking if you want to take advantage of the omnidirectional movement, have that aimbot like aim, and just overall do very well on the map. Ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to be primarily focused on controller and console, although I do play on PC, and so I will be going over the best graphic settings if you want to maximize your FPS. That being said, I do use an Xbox Elite V2 controller. I play with basically everything default. I just have, these front buttons on the back allowing me to be able to do the omnidirectional movement while still having very good aim. If you don't have a fancy controller, you can play claw. If you don't want to play claw, you can go over and change your button layout. Previously, I had mine on default. Now you see it saying tactical, and it's not because I swapped it to tactical, which tactical is good. I do recommend bumper jumper tactical just because it's going to allow you to jump with that left bumper, and then you can drop shot by just clicking down that right stick. And so then you don't really have to move your thumb to be able to, take advantage of the movement. What you can also do is actually the custom now. What I did is that I paired my reload button, which is on the back, with the ping. So if I see the enemy, I can ping them real quick, and pinging the enemy makes it very easy to find them and track them. And then now I just have to reload by clicking up on the D-pad, which isn't too bad. I really don't mind that too much. And so definitely mess with that if you want. I do recommend the bumper jumper tactical though. And then for the sensitivities, I do play on 7.7. I used to play on 6.6, but I upped it to 7 just because this game, there's a lot of people sliding and jumping, a little bit easier to track them. Keep in mind, a lower sensitivity isn't necessarily for your aim. It's more so about your centering. So that white dot in the center of the screen, you need to make sure that is where an enemy could be at all times. So all you have to do is ADS and fire. You don't want to have to ADS and drag over. Having a high sensitivity will lead you to kind of be doing that. Given on Warzone, since the map's bigger and there's a little bit more going on, you can go up to 10.10, but I wouldn't really pass 10.10. You can make 7.7. You can make 4.4 look really fast. It's all about the way you move around the game. For the simplified controls, preset off. Low motor strength preset off. The bumper ping, I have mine on off, but if you want that, you can obviously turn that on. For the controller vibration, please turn this off. Less things shaking in your hand is going to lead to better aim, and you'll save some batteries if you do put still batteries in the controller, which I haven't done that in I think 10 years. But for the Deadzone inputs, this is super important. Pay very close attention. So left stick min, I actually need to lower that to 1. I don't know why it was at 1. I mean, lower it to 0. This is just going to make it so the second I hit that left stick, my guy's going to start to move, so there's no delay whatsoever. For the left stick max, I like to have mine at 70. So now all I have to do is move the left stick from the center up to 70% if I want to reach max movement speed. If I had it on 100, I would have to move it from the, from the start all the way to the end to get to 100% movement speed, which takes a little bit of time. The lowest I've seen anyone go is like 45. It's just this game, I do a lot of certain slides and things to where 70 was kind of feeling the best for me. It's a little bit personal preference. Just keep it, 70 between 45 and 75. For the right stick min, I like to have mine on 3. 5 is also what I like to do. Even though I have a lot of stick drift and I probably need to increase it to like 8 or 9, I still will have it on 5 because I want the game to be responsive, and the stick drift honestly doesn't really affect me too much. If you have to increase it past 10, you might want to look into a new controller. I'm about to swap this one out because mine, it drifts a decent amount. For the right stick max, we're gonna have that 99. Left trigger, right trigger at 0. This is gonna make it so the second you hit the trigger, the gun is gonna fire, making it so there's no delay. A lot of the stuff that we're going over in this video is just to eliminate all that delay. For the sensitivity multipliers, I used to play on 7.7 and then 0.85 for the ADS sense multiplier focus, but I've been doing a little bit better when I keep it at 1.0, and I recommend keeping kind of everything the same. I swear if I have one of these different, I get this weird input lag. And so basically what I'm saying is that keep it between 0.8 and 1.0. For the look inversion, have that on standard, and then for the aiming advanced settings, we're gonna keep the look inversion just standard. ADS sensitivity transition timing, a lot of people have it on gradual. This is gonna make it so there's a delay when you go to ADS. Instant is gonna eliminate that delay. Third person ADS correction type off. Aim response curve type dynamic is huge. Some players still rock standard, but you get a lot more aim assist with dynamic. In the traditional Call of Duties, it was always standard, but now in the newer ones, you have the option to swap to dynamic, which is one of the reasons why it seems like everyone is locking onto you and nobody really misses their shots. For the custom sensitivity per zoom, I actually need to increase this to 1.0. I'm glad I looked back into this. This was my old settings, and you guys can see I was trying to keep everything the same because I swear there's a little bit of input lag. There's probably not, and it's just all placebo, but for me, I just I like to keep everything the same to make sure everything is perfect. And then for the motion sense behavior, we're not going to be going into that, so we don't need to go to the advanced settings. And then just make sure that your aim assist is on. And then now for the movement settings, for the sprint assist, have it on the tactical sprint assist. This is going to make it so your guy automatically tactical sprint. You don't need to click that left stick down whatsoever, making your controller last a little bit longer. And in this game, because you're always sliding into a gunfight, this isn't going to affect you. if you didn't know, your attack sprint, like if you're attack sprinting and then you go to fire the gun, you're going to be firing the gun 110 milliseconds slower than if you were just sprinting. But if you're always sliding into gunfights, that's not going to really matter too much, which is why I have mine on tactical sprint assist on. For the mantle assist off, you can kind of choose when you want to mantle. If you have these on, it's just going to make it so you accidentally mantle on things that you don't want to. Makes the gameplay for you. Crouch assist off. Corner slice, this doesn't give you any benefit if you have it on, so it's really personal preference. I used to have it on, and then I didn't really like how everything was just tilting whenever I was just slightly moving, so I have that on off. For the slide slash dive behavior, this needs to be on hybrid. This is extremely important because it allows you to dolphin dive and slide with having no delay. If you play with tap to slide, tap to dive, or dive only, you'll notice that there's a pretty big delay when you try to do anything. It makes it feel like you're playing in a swamp. But say you do slide only or hybrid, you'll notice that delay is gone, and that's because the game isn't waiting to see if you're holding down the slide button or if you're clicking it. It just knows exactly what you're doing. Although if you're not used to hybrid, you definitely will dolphin dive a lot when you don't mean to. It is going to take a little bit of time to get used to. Sprint restore, make sure that's on. Same with the slide maintain sprint. These are very crucial. Keep those on. Parachute automatic behavior off. Mantle cancels reload off. Now for the movement advanced settings, for the sprint slash tactical sprint behavior, toggle auto move forward off, auto door peek off, tactical sprint activation, single tap sprint. So I used to actually play with or like auto sprint, and then I would have to click my left stick once to attack sprint. So I would basically choose when I attack sprint. That is still very good. If you are playing with that, make sure it's on single tap sprint. This is going to make it so there's absolutely no delay when you choose to go into your tactical sprint. Hopefully that makes sense. Plunging underwater free, this is going to give you a little bit more control. Sprinting door bash on. And then for the vehicle behaviors, you can just copy all of these things on here. It doesn't really matter too much. And now for the combat settings, aim down sight behavior hold, tactical stance behavior on toggle, tactical stance activation, ADS plus down button, weapon mount activation, ADS plus melee, dedicated melee weapon activation, hold melee, body shield slash finishing move behavior. I like to do the prioritized body shield so I can instantly put someone into a body shield without having to click the right stick twice. Doesn't really matter too much. You guys can do really whatever you want, but I do like to, have the option to do either one. Armor plate behavior apply all. C4 detonation activation apply all at once. Equipment behavior hold. Manual fire behavior press. Combat advanced settings. Change zoom activation. Sprint slash tactical slash focus. Weapon mount exits off. Interact slash reload behavior. Make sure this is prioritized interact. This makes it so you can reload way faster. Super beneficial. Also makes it so you can pick up a gun off the floor. Like maybe you're mid gunfight, you run out of ammo, you don't have a secondary, or secondary somehow out of ammo as well. You can pick up a gun off the floor and just hope that there's ammo. And that's a little bit faster than actually reloading. This has saved my life in like multiplayer ranked and in Warzone all the time, and just overall though helps you loot a lot faster. Sprint cancels reload off. I don't know why that was on. Now you can sprint while you're reloading. Akimbo behavior independent. ADS stick swap off. Depleted ammo weapon switch on. And that's gonna wrap it up for the combat settings. If you guys want to copy all of these things, feel free. Just make sure you take off the delays. By default, there's always a delay, and I don't know why, because the delay just makes the game feel very, very sluggish. Now for the graphic settings, I play with full screen and borderless. Also, if you are on console, still stay tuned in here. Some of these settings will apply to you. I just on PC, so I have a little bit extra ones. And then this stuff doesn't really matter too much. Automatic for the aspect ratio, and then copy all of these things. I used to have it on plus boost, but I get a little bit more frames now when I just have it on. Eco mode preset custom, VSync gameplay off, VSync menus off. Custom frame rate limits, I just have that on unlimited, and then which I actually probably should turn it down so my PC is not working harder when it doesn't need to be. Menu render resolution native, pause game rendering off, reduce quality when inactive off, focus mode on 10. This stuff really doesn't matter too much. All personal preference. Do whatever you want. Now we're in the part where it's not really personal preference. So render resolutions, keep that 100. You don't need to increase that or decrease it whatsoever. Dynamic resolution off, upscaling slash sharpening. This is insanely beneficial if you want to actually be able to see the enemies. If you don't have this on, everything just feels horrible. So we're basically going to have the fidelity on there. And then for the fidelity, cast strength, you're going to want to max it out. We'll keep it between like 50 or 100. Some players don't like it maxed out. For me, I can see a little bit more enemies when I have it on 100. And then for the VRAM scale target, I have mine at 90, just maxing that out. Variable rate shading on. If the game does crash a lot for you, try turning that off, and it'll probably save a lot of your crashes. Texture resolution, if I wasn't like streaming and things, I would keep it on normal. If I have it on like low and very low, I just swear everything's like too pixelated and a little bit harder to see the enemies. My camos don't look that good, so I always like to have it at least on normal. But if you have it on high, then you can like, it just looks nicer for like streams and stuff. So if you have a good computer and you're streaming or making content, I recommend high. Texture filter anisotropic, I like to have mine on low, although I was reading something and it said that this plays no factor whatsoever, like maybe like 2 FPS, but like I'm always trying to get the maximum amount of FPS, but I guess since it doesn't affect it too much, I'll just bring that back up to ultra. Depth of field off, detail quality low, particle resolution very low, bullet impacts, if you want more FPS, turn that off, but when I'm testing recoil patterns and stuff, I like to have that on. Persistent effects off, shader quality low, on-demand texture streaming minimal. I hope I said that correctly. Feel free to copy this stuff right there. Shadow quality very low. Local texture streaming quality low. Screen space shadows high. This is just going to make your camos look a little bit better. If you don't care about your camos looking better, then I'll just put it on off. Screen space lighting off. Screen space reflections, again, if you have this on high, it's going to make your camos look better. If you don't care, just turn that off. Static reflection quality low. In the environment settings now, tessellation off. Volumetric quality low. Deferred physics quality off. Weather grid volumes quality off. Water quality off. So now you should be able to maximize your FPS and just make the game run a whole lot more smooth. Now for the field of view, I like to have mine on 115. If I'm playing ranked play, I'm gonna have it on 103. This is because I don't really need to see that much of the screen, so it's more beneficial to make my targets a little bit bigger, making it easier to actually hit my shots. Although in Warzone the map is pretty big, so it doesn't really matter what you do. I like to do 115. Anything higher just makes it a little bit harder in those close range engagements. For the ADS field of view affected, weapon field of view, oh, I think this is supposed to be wide. Yeah, see, I swear this game resets my settings all the time. Third person field of view 90, vehicle field of view default, world motion blur and weapon motion blur, keep these on off. By default they're on, and it makes people's game look horrible, and then they leave bad reviews and say the game sucks and all these things. I feel like this game should come with the best settings. For the audio settings now, I just have this at 100, gameplay music volume at 10, dialogue at 70, effects volume at 100, just to maximize those footsteps. For the speakers, this is a little bit personal preference. I do recommend you guys to, okay, it is a lot better if you buy the pack, like the audio pack thing. It gives you way like just more in-depth audio, and then you can do the pack where basically it will scan your head, so then you actually can get personalized audio. That one I didn't see too much of a benefit in. I just noticed that when I bought the pack, it was a lot better audio, which sucks that it's pay to win now. Audio mix, Treyarch mix, mono audio off, mute game would minimize off, mute license music off. All of this stuff doesn't really matter too much. You guys can just copy everything. I get really bad tinnitus, or I used to, until I turned this on, then it saved it. So I have voice chat volume, I have it on 50, and then I like to make my microphone at 100, so I'm the loudest in the lobby. So if anyone's trash talking, they're definitely gonna hear me. And then just have all the chats on. Don't be a little soft snowflake and have your proximity chat off. Make sure that's on. And then microphone, yeah, personal preference for all of these things, which that is gonna wrap it up for the audio settings. Now we are gonna be going down to the interface. Some very important stuff over here. So visual support preset off, menu prompts automatic, gameplay tips off, skip introduction movie on, skip kill cam off, tooltips off, telemetry. I really like to have the FPS, the server latency, and the packet loss on my screen, and then so I can make a very good excuse in case I'm doing bad in rank play to my teammates. And then now for the readability, subtitles all off, subtitle size default, subtitles background opacity 0, menu text size default, text chat text size default, color customization put on custom. If you want to be able to see the enemies as fast as possible, then I would put them to yellow, because that's what the human eye picks up first. But yellow, I feel like it blends in to where I don't really see them then. So for me, I just like to make the enemies red, and then I will just make them, you know, the most saturated red possible. And then you guys can just, you know, mess with the other stuff, whatever colors you want. For the color filter target, I like filter 2. Actually, always run filter 2. It makes your game a lot more vibrant. And then add the both for colored filter target, and then just max out the world color and the interface color intensity. And then for the gameplay HUD now, we're going to go over to the HUD bounds. Make this as in as possible, so then when you're looking at the minimap every 2 seconds, which is what you should do because it literally tells you where everyone's at, this is going to make it so you don't have to look up at the corner of your screen as much. Minimap shape square, this is going to make it so you see a little bit more of the screen. Minimap rotation on, radar off, you don't need that. Compass type off, vehicle HUD prompts fade after 10 seconds, in-game text chat on, player name's full name. I like to see the clan tag and the name just so it's a higher chance to actually see the enemy. With the crosshairs, this is insanely important. Have it on static, makes your hip firing a lot easier, just overall centering and everything that you do a lot easier. For the hit marker visuals on, damage based hit markers on, weapon inner information, just feel free to copy all of these things on here. Lastly, we got the account and network settings. All of this stuff doesn't really matter too much. I do like to turn the clouded settings off. If I have this on, it changes my settings, which that's probably why they were changing. I just turned that off. and then I like to keep everything on here on. There's one thing that you have to turn off, the gore effects. This will basically make it so you get way more frames. Very important you have that off. And then I believe that I might have shown you the wrong audio for the audio mix. I really like the sucker punch. This basically just makes it so the footsteps are a little bit bassier, a little bit louder. And then I like to go down over here for the configure frequency intensity. This is very headset specific, although if you just use any type of gaming headset, these frequencies should be pretty beneficial for you. If you go on Twitter and hit up a guy named All Skill No Talk, he does do an audio optimization that I do recommend to you guys if you want to maximize, you know, the power within your headphones. If you're curious of the ones I have, I use the Kiwi Ears IEMs. I really like them. I also use Astros. It's whichever one I'm feeling in the day. For the 250 hertz, I'm gonna have that 50, the 500 at 50. This is gonna make the bass just as loud as possible. Although if you don't have a gaming headset, it might sound very muffled, so you might want to turn that down to like 30 or 40. For me though, 50 was feeling amazing. And then for the 1K, and I'm gonna have that at 10, 2K, 5, 4K, -5, 6K, -5, 8K, -5, 10K, -5, and you want to do the same thing for the right channel frequency. If you feel like it's messing up your stuff, just keep it at 0. The footsteps are already pretty loud in this game to where you can hear that, but if you want to become the best of the best, definitely hit up that guy on Twitter, or you can copy these ones down and it should be pretty beneficial. There is one more thing that I want to show you guys that actually isn't in the settings anymore. If you guys could leave a comment where it's at, or if they just took it out or something. So you can search for settings. If I look up the HUD presets, it's gone. The HUD presets basically allowed you to change the size of your minimap. So I would make it from like the default 100, so I would increase it to like 135, so then it was like 35% bigger, and then I would change a couple things on there, but for some reason it's not in the game anymore. I don't know if I'm looking in the right area, but like I searched it and it's not there, which is a little bit weird. And then there was one more thing I want to show you guys that I just forgot to go in depth on, is the crosshair. So yeah, you want on static, crosshair dot on. I like the center dot on the larger. Largest is a little bit too big for me. That's what she said. Default, I can't see that whatsoever, so this larger is going to be helpful. Crosshair spread on, crosshair opacity 100, and then you actually can change, you know, the color of it. I have it on blue. I might change it to like, you know, something else, but to me blue does stand out, and I might mix around it. It doesn't really matter too much, but it is kind of fun to, you know, change the color and things like that. But with all that said, that is going to wrap it up for the video. If you guys did find this helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel with the noties on, leave a like, and deuces.